A Multiple Intelligence Theory Guide. Chapter 1. The Multiple Intelligence Theory 1. Crystallized Intelligence and Fluid Intelligence. Before all the modern research on intelligence starting in the 1980s, the most advanced theory was probably the Kittelhorn theory, which defined two types of intelligence. 1. Crystallized intelligence, what you learn in life mostly from others, the factual stuff in school, what you see on TV, what your friends tell you, plus how to do things, how to function in society. 2. Fluid intelligence, the ability to think and reason abstractly, the capacity to make insights, solve new problems and perceive new patterns to new situations independent of previous knowledge. You're always learning new things, therefore increasing crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence is another matter. You have a fixed amount of intelligence, therefore limits on how deeply you can think, but I believe you can improve it like I did by studying for the GRES many years ago. If you practice abstract thinking by solving those practice GRE questions that force you to keep 3 or more ideas in your mind at the same time in order to solve a problem, you become a sharp thinker, at least for a while. It's hard work. The mind not only gets dull if you do not make an effort to learn new knowledge, but it also gets dull if you do not do hard intellectual things like thinking up new ideas, analyzing stuff, writing your thoughts down, solving puzzles, etc. For me, writing stuff uses all parts of your mind including creativity. ask.com/question/crystallized-intelligence. Cognitivefun.net. healthymemory.wordpress.com/tag/fluid-and-crystallized-intelligence. mindforums.com/fluid-and-crystallized-intelligence. mrwhatis.com/crystallized-intelligence-in-middle-adulthood.html. wiki.answers.com/q/what_is_the_definition_of_crystallized_intelligence. Multiple Intelligences Theory Info. This is a bunch of psychobabble about cutting and chopping up our holistic essences/holistic consciousness/pure intelligence into a bunch of categories of intelligence, which is bullcrap because you think and feel with your one whole mind. You don't break it down into math, verbal, vocabulary, emotional intelligence, street smarts, creativity, etc. You have one state of consciousness. These multiple intelligences people think they're all cool and advanced because they're going beyond a standard academic curriculum to encourage the Renaissance, liberally educated man concept, but they're still breaking everything down into X number of subjects and categories. Somebody should tell them about the human soul and my book A Free Spirit's Search for Enlightenment. It's all about the natural flow of your natural energy, not a bunch of boxes like music goes here, math goes there, etc., where you're trying to design the perfect person. Being a creative artist intellectual is to follow what you naturally feel without hurting other people. Go where your interests take you for as long as you're inspired about it. My problem with all this stuff is that you got maybe a dozen or so psychobablists who each come out with their own list of what constitutes the multiple intelligences of the human mind, but they're all a bunch of brainwashed fools who think they have to analyze and define everything. The truth is that you feel what's in your soul, then release that positive, natural, inspired energy every day. You don't chop it all up and think you got something, because nobody thinks that way, in discrete parts. Multiple intelligences is a big buzz term nowadays. Some schools dedicate themselves to it. You can study it as a teaching major. Waldorf and Montessori education are part of this holistic education idea. Here are some types of thinking created by the academic machine. Conceptual thinking, analytical thinking, speculative thinking, right brain thinking, critical thinking, foolish thinking, convergent thinking, weird thinking, reflective thinking, visual thinking, symbolic thinking, propositional thinking, digital thinking, metaphorical thinking, mythical thinking, poetic thinking, nonverbal thinking, elliptical thinking, analogical thinking, lyrical thinking, practical thinking, divergent thinking, ambiguous thinking, constructive thinking, thinking about thinking, surreal thinking, focused thinking, concrete thinking, fantasy thinking. Dr. Howard Gardner created the standard definition of multiple intelligences. Dr. Howard Gardner is a big name in educational psychology for going from the school definition of intelligence to making it a much wider definition. Dr. Howard Gardner's definition of intelligence is the ability to create useful products and solve everyday problems. Previously, intelligence was defined as academic performance, mostly linguistic, verbal, mathematical/logical, science. According to Howard Gardner, creator of the theory of multiple intelligences, we possess 8 distinct forms of intelligence: linguistic, spatial, bodily kinesthetic, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, quantitative, nature. He started with 7 types, then added nature later on. 1. Verbal/linguistic intelligence covers the domains relating to language and reading. 2. Logical/mathematical intelligence covers the domains relating to logic and mathematics. 3. Spatial intelligence is about represent the spatial world internally in your mind. 4. Musical intelligence relates to music, tonality, singing, playing instruments, composing music and its applications. 5. Body/kinesthetic intelligence is evidenced by an innate awareness of the body and being able to utilize the body as mechanics, especially shown as athletic abilities, i.e., basketball, baseball, dance, football, soccer, race car driving, skiing, surfing, gymnastics and figure skating. 6. Interpersonal, the knowledge needed to function socially, i.e., president, general, social leader. 7. Intrapersonal, knowledge of self. 8. Naturalistic, an appreciation of and kindredness with nature. All of us are presumed to have each trait in varying amounts. The idea is that everyone tends towards their 1 or 2 strongest intelligence to learn. Each child possesses all 8 of these intelligences, therefore all should be part of the school curriculum. Another basic intelligence scheme defines 3 types of intelligence. 1. Kinesthetic tactile learners, learn by action, doing, motion, preferred by young people under 40. 2. Visual learners, read and look at pictures, preferred by people over 40. 3. Auditory learners, talk, listen to music. Most people use all methods when they learn. The hyped-up learning programs for sale. I've looked at about a dozen or so of the latest learning program revolution out there. They all use Gardner's theory, go through the types of intelligences one by one with tips on how to learn that particular learning style with instructions to help you discover your particular favorite learning style from these 8. My problem with all of this is that I don't care how I learn. I naturally love to learn. I don't need gimmicks. I favor no way. Verbal learning is the most natural, easiest way to learn, which is the way I do most of my learning. I don't have to dance around, draw pictures, etc. Just love life, learn, dance for the fun of it. Follow your bliss. You don't need some canned program to help you learn. It's like buying a program to help you breathe. Your intelligence and creativity are inside of you. Let them out by exploring your life. Metacognition/thinking about thinking. Metacognition is thinking about how to think. Metacognition involves active control over the thinking processes involved in learning. Metacognition is knowing how to learn, having an awareness of the process of learning. Metacognition is knowing what I know and what I don't know. Metacognition includes the ability to ask and answer the following types of questions. What do I know about this subject? Do I know what do I need to know? Do I know where I can go to get some information, knowledge? How much time will I need to learn this? What are some strategies and tactics that I can use to learn this? Did I understand what I just heard, read, or saw? How can I spot an error if I make one? How should I revise my plan if it is not working to my satisfaction? Answers.com/topic/metacognition. Metacognition.org. Metadeb.com. Psychology.wikia.com/wiki/metacognition. studygs.net/metacognition.htm. Holistic intelligence info. Learning styles refer to the way people learn and how their brains process information. The theory is that we have multiple intelligences, but from them, we have specific learning styles that we like the best and use the most. Help every child discover his or her learning styles, talents, and natural interests. Help them nurture it. At the same time, expose them to what else is going on in the world. Intelligence is not fixed. We have many different abilities which all go under the label of intelligence. Help students culture and interest in life. There is logic, creativity, and intuition. All are a part of holistic intelligence. Physical action and motion is a very underrated form of intelligence. It doesn't matter how you might dissect your intelligence, the critical factor is that you do something useful and worthwhile with it. It's all complicated and kind of crazy, especially when they explain how the brain takes in information and analyzes it. So to me, I don't really care about metacognition, how I think. It's all about spirit. The active, vital, inspired, positive human being wants to learn to help master his life and possibly do something great with it. That's all you need. Forget the psychobabble. Everybody has limitations in cognitive intelligence, but creativity knows no bounds. In every education textbook, you will see them say that everybody has different learning styles, mainly visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile. Then they will ask you whether you learn best by seeing, hearing, moving, or touching. They might ask if you are a predominantly left brain, analytical, verbal thinker, or a right brain, global, visual spatial kind of thinker. They go on and on with their theories of intelligence and memory. Personally, I don't get it. I think naturally by nature. How do you dissect the human soul? How do you dissect intelligence? How do you dissect the sexual orgasm? How do you dissect the sensation of soaring on high? I think therefore I use my intelligence to try to maximize my experience of the human condition. I don't know how I think and I don't really care. It's fun. I do it virtually every waking moment. I can't shut it off. I think all the psychobabble written about it is pretty useless to me. Maybe it helps teachers deal with slow learners. I don't know, but I get tired of seeing it in all those education books. To me, it's like the concept of the subconscious mind. I don't believe in it. I hide nothing from myself. My reality is my conscious thoughts. I've had so many ridiculous, stupid, funny dreams that they cannot have any bearing on my real life. There is nothing from any mysterious subconscious mind in my dreams, yet I'm a lone voice. Virtually every social science graduate and teacher says there is a subconscious mind, and they all also dissect human intelligence down into Howard Gardner's 8 types. See how brainwashed everybody is. Grade school and college are geared for verbal ability, logical thought. If you're creative and full of visions, do it on your own time. Play along with what they want in school and save your genius for someone who will appreciate it most, you. If you want to do something, do it. Don't worry if it fits into a certain box of intelligence or knowledge or not. Define an artist of life or a Renaissance man or woman. In my opinion, do not waste your intelligence on frivolous pursuits like gambling, pop culture entertainment, or reading romance novels. The music of knowledge / multisensory learning / multifaceted learning. Here are the steps to be a super learner. 1. Feel relaxed, open and positive about learning. 2. Gather the material. Read the basics. 3. Explore it by thinking about it, possibly doing a mind map, etc. 4. Review and edit it over and over again. You could try recording the material then listening to it as a podcast. You could create a Venn diagram, mind map, etc. then look at it on your computer. You could think about it while you take a walk. The general rule is that we remember 90% of what we do. 60% of what we see, 50% of what we hear, 30% of what we say, 20% of what we read. You learn in different ways. Try not just to read and memorize. Do something to experience the knowledge. For example, you're more likely to remember facts about dinosaurs if you go to a dinosaur archaeological dig or create a multimedia presentation of it than if you just read about it. Draw out the knowledge using your picture creator software, gimp.org, free. Create a podcast about it. Think about it over and over again, etc. Memory experts visualize knowledge and names by creating funny, offbeat pictures in their minds. Use your senses and intuition as an adjunct to help learn new stuff for school. Doing this will help you remember the knowledge. Soft music can relax you and put you in the alpha brainwave state to help you learn better. Talk to yourself about the material. Instead of reading quietly, say it physically out loud. There are a few bars and social clubs around where people go to talk about intellectual subjects. Try to find friends who like to talk about things that matter. Read key points out loud. Mind maps are a big sales gimmick right now. There are books and tapes teaching you how to draw the material out in tree-like mind maps where you draw ideas on each of the branches. There is a contradiction in the methods to try to teach you to be a super learner. On one hand, they say be relaxed and passive so you can absorb the material quietly and peacefully without distractions. On the other hand, they say be active, engaged, alive, love the material, sing it, dance it, think about it, ponder it, run with it, draw it, teach it, talk it, blog it, etc. I say do both. What is the music of knowledge? I think it's my life. I was 4 and 5 years old, so curious about life that I was buying books. How many 5-year-olds buy books rather than candy with their spending money? It's a lifestyle to always stimulate my intellect either by learning something new or creating something through my mental aesthetic spiritual sensibilities. To me, it's normal. When I was a teenager, I started to realize most people were not as curious and lusty for life as I was. They were happy hanging around watching silly movies, drinking beer, etc. I simply wanted to be active all the time. That's the way I live many years later. That's the way to have a multicolored life. Don't be dragged down by the generic, average stuff going on around you. Keep running with the pulse of your soul. You are an artist of your life. Education is love of the human spirit. The more relaxed and happy you are, the better learner you are. Believe in yourself. Know that in order to learn large quantities of knowledge as you have to do for traditional schooling, you not only must love it or act like you do, but you have to be systematic and organized about it. Break it down into small chunks that are easy to understand and remember. Be relaxed and free thinking about education. Say to yourself it's all a ride for the fun of it. I get a kick out of learning this stuff. Bring it on. I'm the champion, super brain egghead. I don't understand why we got all this RA cheerleading stuff for sports and none for education. Being inspired about life is the most intense experience around. Show passion for it. Chapter 2. The Multiple Intelligence Theory 2. My response to the multiple intelligence philosophy. In the 1974 movie Conrack, Jon Voight taught school as life. He didn't subdivide it down into 8 different intelligences then build a curriculum for each. Life and learning are spirit and holistic. A formal curriculum is necessary in large schools with lots of students, but if you want to build enlightened individuals, you have to give them an hour or so every day to follow their own interests in the classroom. An individual could read or get together with several people to do a creative project. Why did I start exercising at 10 years old, something most kids don't want to do? It's because it was my true nature. Education is supposed to help you discover your true nature, then honor it. That's why I think a free spirit's search for enlightenment should be used in grade school to help children find their true identities, but I'm not a naive dreamer. I'm perfectly aware that the real world is not about this idealistic, utopian lifestyle about being eternally inspired following your bliss that I talk about. The real problem with all this idealistic, utopian education is that the world needs doctors, lawyers, bakers, construction workers, and sewer workers, not bohemians, hippies and starving artists, which is what most people become who follow their true natures. That's why it's not really wise to encourage this find your talents and soar kind of mentality, because most kids are average. All they want to do is get a decent job, which is why I'm in favor of an overhaul of grade school, but not towards a creative, artsy curriculum but towards practical real-life skills. If you're naturally creative, you'll end up being who you are regardless of what they teach you in school. The high-end genuices don't really need school after grade 9. They'll find their own way. I attended one of those hippie-type public grade schools from grade 4 until grade 6. Looking back on it now, I feel sorry for all those guys and gals who went to school with me, had their heads filled up with all this idealistic crap, then realized later the real world is about getting a good job to pay the bills regardless of how boring and dehumanizing it might be. All that stuff they taught us was a big idealistic fantasy about discovering your potential, then sharing it with a society of kindred spirits who will welcome you with open arms. Get real. The world wants you to shut up and work a real job. The world doesn't need another creative, artistic, altruistic hippie who can't even pay the rent because he or she doesn't want to work a regular job but has nothing of real substance to offer beyond a cute poem, a song, a new painting, or some whacked-out idea about brotherly harmony. That's why I'm against all these naive psychobablists who want to start a revolution towards full potential education. It's still happening today. Talk to any junior high kid. He knows all about capitalist exploitation of the environment, but he doesn't know what a mortgage is, a stock, APR, IPO, a business license, the range of occupational possibilities, a septic tank, electrical wiring, etc. I feel sorry for them. When they finish their schooling, they're as naive as ever about the real world. Synesthesia, see words in colors and more. Some people's brains are wired so that when they experience one of the senses, they experience that sense along with another sense. Some people see colors when they hear music. For some people, certain words bring up specific offbeat images. Some synesthetes experience individual words in particular colors. Others experience smells when exposed to shapes. Some hear sounds when they eat something. loc.gov/today/cyberlc/feature_wdesk.php?rec=477one, the involuntary joining of different senses. washingtonpost.com/wp-dine/articles/A15125-2002 nature.com/news/2005/050228/full/0502228-9.html. Proprioception/the sixth sense. Proprioception is sensing where your hands and other body parts are so that you can move around and walk, even in the dark. Sensors in the skin, muscles, and joints send information to the brain, which gives you a sense of position. The brain gets information from the body, then determines where you are in the space you're in. Proprioception is muscular and joint sense. Interoception is visceral sense, feeling what is going on inside your body. Look for articles in the Journal of Physiology. Multiple intelligence test. literacyworks.org/mi/assessment/finderstrengths.html, multiple intelligences assessment. bgfl.org/bgfl/custom/resources_ftp/client_int/int/index.htm, multiple intelligences quiz. Multiple intelligences websites. bbc.co.uk/science/leonardo/thinker_quiz/allresults.shtml, different thinking styles. childrensministries.org. discover-multiple-intelligences.com. edc.org/cct/ccthome/reports/tr4.html, educational implications of the theory of multiple intelligences. exploring.u.com/student-development/big-howard-howard-gardner-multiple-intelligences. frespirit.com. gardnersehool.org. ips.k12.in.us/mski. iriskylight.com. kagankuplern.com. ldpride.net/learningstyles.me.htm, an explanation of learning styles and multiple intelligences, me. learningbrain.com. learningforum.com. lordenking.com, multiple intelligences and problem solving. memphias-schools.tn.us/admin/tlopages/multipleintel.html. meinstitute.info, Multiple Intelligences Institute. mindwarrionline.com. meresearch.org. mms.lake.k12.ca.us/me_webquest/me_home.html. multi-intell.com. multi-intell.com. neurodiversity.com. neurodiversity.com. newcityschool.org, New Dimensions of Learning. newhorizons.org. nprinc.com. pz.harvard.edu. pz.harvard.edu, Project Zero. readwritethink.org. sekolahopratiban.com, School in Indonesia. serendip.brynmauer.edu/bb/neuro/neuro99/web3/tucker.html, connections between neuroscience and the theory of multiple intelligences, implications for education. sutil.com. surfaquarium.com/im.htm. tcpd.org, Thornburg Center for Professional Development. thomasarmstrong.com. thomasarmstrong.com/articles/7_ways.htm, multiple intelligences, 7 ways to approach curriculum. annex.ucr.edu/education, University of California, Riverside, Multiple Intelligences Teacher Certificate Program. welltrainedmind.com. Crystallized Intelligence websites. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/fluid_and_crystallized_intelligence.